Okay, so I would just like to introduce our team again to everyone. So we have Asen Ngombe, who is the hub lead and facilitator. He's present here. He'll also sort of quickly introduce himself. We also have Linda, who's also part of the team, a hub facilitator, myself, Sheldon. And then we also have Linda, who is also part of the team. Everybody else is based. Leah, sorry. I actually did that a few minutes ago, but yeah. So I'm based here in Namibia, and the rest of the team is based in Cape Town because it's the Cape Town hub. But I think technology helps us in making a lot of things possible. Okay, so just to add and give more detail with regards to why we are doing this, we have four main things that we would like to do within our hub. It's communicating, systems thinking and what is available and possible with systems thinking, using different means of media. We also want to create a learning platform where people can engage with the concepts and ideas of systems thinking and innovation. And then there's also connecting that we would also like to do in terms of creating or minimizing boundaries between people and creating opportunities for people to work across different industries and ways of thinking. And then obviously we'd also like to at some point get to a point where we are creating and solving real life problems in real time with various stakeholders available. So today we would like to just bring this back to the forefront of our community, and then also just find out how we can do this a little bit better. Okay, so for now, we would like to find out about everybody who's on the call, who we are, where we are from, what our interests are with regards to systems thinking. And yeah, everybody is about 30 seconds. I'm not going to be checking the time, but I mean, yeah, so I'll start. Like I said, my name is Sheldon. I'm based here in Namibia. I come from the background of organizational development, training and development, and my systems thinking sort of interest really is in the organizational setting, trying to understand that businesses are complex and making people at least aware of the environment and the external environment within they and their organization would be operating in. Yeah, a mouthful, but yes. Okay, anybody else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, I work with Sheldon and the team. My name is Leah. I currently am situated in Cape Town, Hout Bay. I'm a business analyst, but my interest comes from applied complexity science and systems science. And I just really love to look at things holistically and just put them together and see what emerges when you put things together and how they interact. So yeah, that's where my interest came into system science and system science.
Okay, thank you, Leah.
Okay.
I'll go. My name is Linda Kuvea. I work with an organization called RIASACO. It's a social enterprise focused on designing projects and doing research for NGOs and social enterprises. Yeah, personally, my interest is in the mining space, and systems thinking has kind of helped me a lot to develop in terms of research in that space, seeing that it's a very complex sector. in our economy. So, and also contributing so much to the economy. So that's where my interest lies. I'm doing some futurist work and systems thinking research in that space. Yeah. Thank you.
So I'll go. My name is Arsene. I work with Linda also through RIASA. My interest is mostly complexity, systemic design, system thinking, because most of my work is in the social sector, and the complexity issues are what is quite central to what we're trying to deal in the social sector. We're trying to deal with in the social sector. That's where my interest in. Yeah, so I'm also based in Cape Town in South Africa, and I'm part of the Hub team, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, should I go next?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, so I see my abbreviation comes up on the screen here, but my name is Mark. I'll change my name on Zoom. I'm South African, but I'm living in the UK for now, and maybe for another few years. But my plan is to come back to South Africa. So that's why I joined the Cape Town Hub. You know, to be with people that I identify with in a better way. But my interest in systems thinking has developed from. I was a general manager of a manufacturing company in Umkomaas in KZN, and I found that the traditional management models didn't really help running the business and with the socio-technical interface of a manufacturing company. So I became interested in systems thinking, and I did a master's with Open University, which gave me, I guess, a bit of theory about systems thinking. But what I don't have is a lot of practical application. So yeah, I thought joining this hub would be a good way to expand and deepen my interest of it.
Nice having you here. I think we need to schedule another call to discuss and explore possibility. Yeah, definitely, because we're now starting to talk more about project within the hub. But this is not really. This is not, sorry about that. This is not really related to project as outcome per se, but it starts with the learning, and then we do a bit of research to test those learnings. So now we're talking about city resilience. Management is also, I like that, because now we're talking about multiple level perspective and how people need to start finding niches when they are dealing in system and organizational system or stuff like that. So yeah, we also start to think of various projects that we can always have in a design as part of the hub. So nice having you here. Thank you so much.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
I also kind of agree what you said there with, I think there's too much linear thinking in management these days. I think they don't really incorporate the unforeseen consequences like bottlenecks or delays. And I think they really try to rush, what do you call these things now? Like the silver bullets. I think they try to apply that too often to too many problems, if you can call it.
Yeah, no, agreed. And then of course there's the next guy has to clean it up.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can't clean it up with the same thinking, right? It just gets more messy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you there, Mark. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? I think we have a few more people that hasn't said anything yet. So please, we'd like to hear from everyone.
I think I'll go. Hi, everyone. My name is Leila. I've joined a few of your sessions. I work as a IT IT business analyst for Rand Merchant Bank in Sandton. I've joined the Cape Town hub because I moved to Cape Town during COVID, but now we requested to go back to the bank. And I think the reason I joined is because I really have a good interest in systems thinking. I think I'd like to really implement it within the bank, within my role as part of an IT business analyst. And yeah, I think this was my starting point, if I could say that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Leila.
Nice to have you here, Leila.
So my name is Herman, and I think I'm the newest kid on the block. I just enrolled in systems in innovation this week, and then I was pleasantly surprised that there was a hub right here in Cape Town. I am in Somerset West. I teach knowledge management online at the University in Syracuse. And I've always seen the whole world as a system. And since I think 1990, I've tried to get my head around that. But recently, I really want to understand complexity theory and systems theory on a deeper level. So I am looking forward to learn as much as I can from everybody that's here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Herman. And we'd also like to learn a lot from somebody who's in knowledge management, right? And what does that look like? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Sheldon. Hannes, just to tell you that Arsene and I are not too far from you. Arsene is in Somerset West. I'm in Gordons Bay. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have a coffee together.
Totally. Yeah.
I am super jealous. Very jealous, guys.
Me too.
I mean, I'm not super hard. So maybe I can say it's a 30-minute drive.
Link you guys in. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for those introductions. I think it's important, like I said in the beginning, just so that we can have some form of oversight in terms of who the people are and how best we can create really an engaging community about systems thinking and innovation. Okay, for now we are going to move on to our first activity or icebreaker, and Leah is going to lead us on that one. So it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Sheldon. So guys, I thought of a quick icebreaking activity we could all do. And the question is, I don't know if you want to go to the question for me, Sheldon.
Okay, yes.
Sorry. It's just like up in the top. The question is, if you had a magic wand, what one thing would you change with this magic wand in the world? So I think that's the question to you guys. I myself would like to change inequality in the world. And I think I would do this through changing or challenging the mental models of people. I would like to emancipate the minds of people, giving them a deeper understanding of how system rules work and how they're able to oppress and subjugate agents, usually via mental models or belief systems and social laws. I'm not too sure if you guys are familiar with the iceberg model, but that's basically the gist of it. And I think system science can be seen as a means to make known, unwritten, and often subconscious patterns that enslave the minds of agents in society. So my ideas come from the lineages of Falcott or I think his name is Herbamus or something like that. They just help me to recognize the dynamic interplay that's involved with this society, social systems, if I can call it that. Yeah. So is there anything you guys would change if you guys had a magic wand?
Yeah, I think I would like to go, but I want to put a disclaimer that I think I would actually need 1 million magic wands, Lee. If I have to look at the world and how things look like right now, there's a lot that I would like to change. But the one thing that I can, say is really close to my heart, related to my life experiences and also experiences in my career. It's, the way that non-profits have been operating in all trying to deal with the issues related to poverty and livelihoods. And all the other related challenges that people are facing in different communities, especially disadvantaged communities or communities that are far from centers of of our economies and stuff like that. Yeah. So I feel like they really need to be a shift in the way that especially organizations like non-profit organizations or social enterprises are actually designing their projects and how they are responding to those challenges, because everything has become really highly complex, and we sort of need a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things, and a new way of achieving the impact, the change that we want to see on the ground. So that is something that I really feel, I can, if there was a magic wand, I would just really hit it and change that.
Thank you so much, Linda. Is there anyone else that would like to say?
I would.
Okay, sorry, Hermanus, you go.
I would maybe be a bit selfish and use the wand on myself to change myself. And what I really dream of to magically happen is that I could communicate in all the languages of the world, so that I can really connect with people in their mother tongue.
That's really nice. I've heard a few times that the more languages you know, it's a higher form of intelligence. So that's actually quite a nice one.
And I need it.
That's also, I will comment on that. That's quite interesting. I was in a meeting last week and about this movement of transition, systems change, facilitating change, where someone was talking about while we focus on all the global change that we focus applying the knowledge, expertise and stuff like that, but there is one aspect that we're not really bringing in, and that's the indigenous knowledge or the indigenous part of it. That's because people at the indigenous level, there are some knowledge that sometimes are difficult to tap into because of language barrier and stuff like that. And now people are finding different ways of working together by, going to places where you connect as people, but you also connect as nature, and you believe that because we have the same goal to change things in the world, we just go talk to nature and just admire and see the force and the connection among us, and then you start spreading the word. It was quite interesting to see that mixing between the, like technical or expertise kind of type way of thinking of changing things versus bringing also the spiritual part of it. It was quite interesting, and I like that. I know language barrier is something. It's something big in facilitating that. Yeah.
Do you mind if I just say something about that, Arsene? Because I had a light bulb moment. Maybe a couple of months ago, is I finally understood what decolonize language means, and I think I understood it in the sense of what you're explaining is is, we have such a very uniform and standardized way of speaking, and it's a very European-centric, and maybe we can even say white European system, and the way we speak and the way our systems, our economic system, etc., have developed. But what we are missing is the respect for nature and that indigenous knowledge, which indigenous peoples knew and understood. So I finally understood what I think I did, what it means by the movement in South Africa to say decolonize the languages and the way we speak and the way we think about things. But for it to mean that we must also, and then indigenous peoples have a much deeper respect for nature and the role of the natural world in our lives. We're not standing apart from the nature. We're part of it, but we're also just destroying it, and eventually it's just going to bite us back. I think it's already, yeah. So yeah, that resonated with me very, quite well. Yeah.
I think there's something called the Anthropocene destruction, and they were saying that the Anthropocene, which is the rise of humans on Earth, is equal to the first extinction event in what's this ecology? No, evolution. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think the same thing happens where I think it's called entropy, which means, or like, it's a form of getting in touch with nature, or your true, like yourself, like your true self, getting in touch with nature, or like, when you stand outside and you can like, you hear the birds and all that. Yeah, so it's like people take away from nature, they take away the actual, what it means or what it brings to like life. So I think it's very interesting because the same thing applies here, to be honest.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to change anything else before we have to carry on? Sorry to cut you guys short. I know you had one, Mark, earlier. I don't know if you still have it.
Look, I guess I've almost said everything I wanted to say about that, but if I could change something, I would change people's mental models and awareness of the importance of looking after the environment, the natural world, and specifically animals and plant life, and change the way we live. We can't carry on just with an uncontrolled industrial economy. We're just going to do ourselves out of the planet, and we're pretty close already. So the life-sustaining systems in the world, and that's where I'm also interested in systems thinking. They're reaching critical tipping points where we don't know, and I guess you could start seeing it in the weather systems and things like that. Whether it's climate related or not, I'm not sure. But if you say you're reaching tipping points where the system changes its behavior completely, we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict those changes, because of the complexity of the environmental systems we live in. Anyway, so if I could change something, I would change the way we live in the world. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mark. I think there's a new member, Caroline. I'm not too sure if you want to input anything. And before we go on to you, can you please unmute Charles and Yasmin?
Yeah, you just unmuted me. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Right. Caroline, I'm not too sure if you would like to put in anything or if you're okay.
So I also just wanted to add on what Mark said, right? Because a lot of our problems in the world is really based on human behavior, isn't it? And if you look at human behavior, I think it is the most complex thing. We know we have all of this data and consumer insights and all of these things to give us information about human behavior. But I think is also the one thing that is the most unpredictable. So if I had a wand, definitely it would be to just fix everybody in terms of their behavior, and hopefully all of these other like huge social problems would just disappear. For example, climate change, and you know, the list would be endless. Okay. Anybody else want to add on to, if they had a wand, what they would fix before we move on?
Okay, I think we can move on.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for your input there as well. It was lovely.
Yeah, very much. Would like to go to our feedback for the hub. We have a few questions on our Miro board. Maybe Yasmin or Leah, could you please just drop the link to the Miro board? We have a few questions that we would just like to ask everybody in attendance today to just give us some input in terms of how we can improve.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So our first question there, okay, so I see everybody, a few people have joined so far. The first question there is really around, can you share your experience of being part of the SI network at large, and then maybe in the SI Cape Town hub? I know we have a few new people, but it really is to everyone in terms of what their experience is thus far. And you can just pick up a sticky on the right-hand side and populate your answer in the question box there.
I think, how many minutes do they have to do these?
So we're looking at a minute and a half for each question. Okay. So we can just have some time to just debrief and have a conversation about them.
Okay, great. Thanks, Charlie. Have you guys all, I dropped a link to the Miro board in the chat. So if you guys can access it, just let me know.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna say a bit about my experience while others are still typing, and then I think maybe instead of us just being all quiet and it's not it's not a workshop, right? Yeah, it's a conversation. Yeah. Okay,
yeah, no,
so
for sure.
yeah. So for me, I think the having the guides and the learning meetups was really the greatest experience. Like I learned a lot, and I managed to learn a lot of the concepts, like the basic concept, in a short space of time as well. So, and the guides are presented in a way that is easy to read and easy to understand before you can then, chew bigger chunks of meat as you go. But for the basics, it was really, really helpful for me. That was my experience of the network. And also being part of the hub, it has been quite a journey to be, sitting with other people and creating this community from scratch. I remember when we started, it was just Arsene and I and some other members who are not with us anymore. Like they left the team. So the beginning was also quite it was quite a journey, exciting, and a learning curve also. So yeah, that's my experience about the hub.
I think I'll go next. I also had a similar experience. I got more involved towards the this year, the beginning of the year, or just 3 months or a few months into the year. I'm with Sheldon, and we started to do these learning meetups, which really helped me to actually understand the terminology and a bit more better, the concepts a bit more better, and help me apply them to examples and actually engage with conversations with a community, which is really interesting. So yeah, that was really nice. What I would be interested in is a bit more live projects, and if we could get more feedback from our community to see what you guys are really interested in, or what fields you guys work in, and how we can maybe do a live project or something similar to that.
I like what you said, Lee. I think I'm just gonna go after you as well. Being part of the network has been nice for me because of, in addition to what Linda said, the content, the SI network is quite heavy in terms of content. We all know that, but also the sense of being part of that community, global community of people doing systems thinking work, systems change work. I mean, applying systems thinking in their work. Hearing people coming with ideas and testing these ideas in some form of projects, tool labs now. And if I can remember the way we started or the way we were last year, being fully an online platform to now having to see people more and more getting together as community, and connecting physically. And there's a hub that I think, I can't remember which one was that decided to come together as a community and took a walk in nature and just had fun, that sense of, and me, I believe that being a systemic change strategist, we are here to tackle the pain points because that's what Donella Meadow calls the leverage point. If you want to really intervene in a system, because we all know that it's quite highly complex, very complex, and interconnected, and that, the linearity doesn't work. So in that complexity, finding network of actors, thinkers, innovators, people are doing different things to come together and start to discuss these ideas, but on a personal level or at the work level, taking these ideas now and trying to apply them to a real project has been quite interesting for me. I mean, as we started, we were just doing online stuff, but now more and more we getting to do project, like here in South Africa, the recent project that we did in Langa, where we're saying, okay, so we want to intervene in a particular system, which is the education system that is failing to provide, you know, like to deal with the system itself, like being outdated, not dealing with the reality of the demand, be it employment or opportunities out there, and sitting on the other end with a group of people, like a big number of people unemployed looking for opportunities. How do we start finding leverage point in the system to come up with small intervention in our community to start driving change? And we're doing that through various projects in community with simple resources that they fund and, you know, implement. That it's really been good. And for the Cape Town hub, what I'm looking forward to is for us to start coming together and getting opportunity to get together, as I'm seeing other hubs are doing, physically in a place, and discuss these ideas, share contact, share experience, share knowledge, and so on. And that's how I believe we will be able to grow this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Austin. I'm not too sure if any of you guys want to just voice what you put on the board.
So I would also maybe just join in that conversation there. So for me, what was really important for me was to just break down a little bit of the complex thing that is complexity science, systems thinking, and, you know, that knowledge and body of knowledge can be incredibly intimidating. But for me, when I sort of joined the Cape Town hub, there was a time where we would constantly just look at a specific guide, which was, you know, sort of broken down in easy chunks of information that one could, you know, take back and sort of think a little bit deeper about. Like Asen said, we are really trying to also then create more of that in the hub, with a lot of more people then sort of joining the session. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, can I ask then a question? In the hub, have you guys used some of the systems tools and methodologies, like soft systems methodology or viable systems model, and what do you think of those tools, if you've come across them?
Yeah, so I can answer that for you. We have not tried any of those methodologies yet. I think our community is a bit I'm not too sure, but like too newly born for that. We were just trying to get into learning meetups to get people comfortable with the terminology and the idea of system science. But it's very interesting that you do know those methodologies. And it would be really nice if we had more people like you, so we could actually apply them to even more practical problems that we could apply these to. And we can actually, that's also one thing that the reason for this event is actually to get feedback and to see who would be interested in those kind of events. If we could go through, take a problem and apply the VF viable systems model, or apply soft systems methodology.
Yeah, I think that would be a great, sorry to interrupt, but I think that's this is a great sandbox to practice those tools.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, I've got a bit of theory in the background of them, and but their practical application, and I've used them in some cases, but they're different every time. But I also feel they're quite important to know, because because you can use different system tools for different situations. And you know, you as a systems practitioner decide what to use when.
Yes.
and also the degree of application in a system of or a situation of interest. So it would be good, maybe to explore some of that and apply those to, as you say, in a sandbox. Because they're pretty powerful tools.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Austin and Linda, what do you think about an event like that? Is it possible for us to do something like that in the near future, maybe? Because I'm not sure if you guys also have knowledge on those methodologies and how to apply them. And I mean, even if we don't,
okay,
this is where we all learn together, right?
Okay, let me just start by clarifying. I think it's important for me to drop the link here because it looks like we need to do a bit of work on social media for people to know our YouTube channel so that they can also get the chance to look at some of the things that we do there, because our content now that we're creating, we're putting it on YouTube. So when we started last year in November. We launched last year somewhere in November. So because we just learned the systems thinking tool, so the idea now, the next step was to start building a community, and together with the community, we start now applying these tools in various projects or whatever it is, discussion, workshops and stuff like that. So far what we've done since we launched as a hub, as Linda mentioned in the beginning, we're a bigger team, and then some of the colleagues left. The one that we worked with before Leah and Sheldon joined us, we started talking about problems that we found in our country, for instance, but now start to think of systems thinking tools that exist there, and run workshops with participants that are interested in those particular topics, and online workshop where we unpack those issues. So the first workshop we did was on the iceberg model, which is systems thinking tools that we use that really help you to start planning, understanding the complexity of issues that we deal, be it in the education sector, but in that particular case, we selected the gender-based violence as an key issue that face our communities in South Africa. And we took the iceberg model to try and unpack, get people to understand the gender-based model. So what the iceberg model helps you to get to the root cause of the issue, because often we tend to focus on what we see at the tip of the iceberg. And that's often is the event. So there is a woman who beat, or a man who beat a woman, then the police van is there, or there is crime in community, or whatever it is. But we don't get to really go down to understand the mental model that exists in our community and what is underlying structures that exist. Those structures and how they contribute to creating that pattern of behavior so that it can become a lot, and so that we can start seeing many cases. So it was quite an interesting discussion. So we introduced the tool. We had experts that came to speak about the tool, that how they've applied it in various projects here outside South Africa, but also here in different projects that they've done. And then we took it now and unpacked the issue of gender-based violence. I just put the link on here. And that was an online workshop. So as Sheldon was explaining our activities and what we want to do as a hub, so besides learning as we facilitate, we also want to co-create together. And for us to co-create, we really have to have that space of unpacking these issues and thinking of concrete project. And that can be through various forms. So the last one we did was a workshop. We do various activities like discussions. There was a discussion that we hosted, I think in the beginning of this year in March, with the University of Cape Town. If we can just follow one by one. Let's start with. Is that me?
Yeah, I think somebody's playing a recording or something. It was a TMI.
Sorry, I thought it was because I heard myself speaking.
I'm done.
So yeah,
It was
so
you.
yeah, it was me, obviously, introducing workshop. So yeah, and then we had a discussion also with the University of University of Cape Town, sorry, that is working on a project on just transition in the mining, on how to leverage the power of agriculture to through the production of bamboo, I think, and facilitate job creation and add value into the economy, like influence the whole system of employment and create regenerative sort of agriculture opportunities for people and employment. And so then we take concept like that project and we start to think of how do you apply the systems thinking tools to try and intervene as you resolve a particular issue. So now, as we are now, it's been, I think, 6 months that we haven't hosted a big event. We've been doing learning workshops, which is learning meetup, sorry, which is basically, as Sheldon was saying, we take a guide and we go read and we come and discuss and we reflect on our understanding on that. But as we go, in fact, that's what we're saying, that through this contact that we're doing, as we're getting to know people's interest, then moving forward, now we're going to start discussing how we can use this platform to think of concrete stuff that we can do, workshop, face-to-face workshops, but also project. We're already talking about applying a possibility, well, through the support of the SI network to set up a lab. And we still have to find people in the community, their interests, so that by putting those ideas together, we can choose which topic, and then from those topics we can start not working on concrete projects. So that's basically where we are now and where we've been in that process. So the conversation that we're having here, like meet and greet, is really a platform for us to get to know each other, allow people, not for us to come and do the way we do in learning meetup where we teach tools, but now to get feedback from people and think of ideas that we can do together as a community so that we can grow our community. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Yeah, okay. Let me just add something also quickly, just as a way of, letting people know, how we got to have the SI Cape Town Hub and the things that we envisioned for the hub. So one of the things, Mark, if I can just add on to what Asen has said in response to your question, is that we also noticed that in our African context, the knowledge around systems thinking and the complexity theory and all of these things is very, very limited. You find very small pockets of people here and there who have the expert kind of knowledge. And I think this is one of the reasons why also we ended up going back to the learning meetups more, because we realized that even trying to invite speakers, it was quite difficult. We will end up having to speak to somebody who's actually in Australia to speak to a particular topic because they are working on a project overseas, and these things are not so common here where we are. So starting from the basics and having those guys, the guys are really, really useful for all those, to start understanding all those concepts within the community. And then from there, people can start now slowly applying it in the different in their different workplaces or lives or whatever else they need the knowledge for. So yeah, that's one other thing that I just wanted to add on top of what Asen said.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for that. It's a good background and good context. Yeah, and I think it's amazing what you do.
And I think you mentioned now a very important thing, the context. I think this is one thing that is also quite central is in systems thinking. You realize that most of the interventions or sort of methodologies that people use in different kinds of things in their daily work and stuff, they might try to just copy paste it elsewhere, and then it might actually not work there. Because of context. So context is really, really critical. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. That was a lively conversation, and I think this is really what we want to see. Have conversations about timely, topics and concepts. We have about 8 minutes, and we did have a activity. I think we are not going to go into it. I really want to find out more in terms of what exactly, in terms of topics, we can sort of look into going forward. I, for one, just in this session today, found indigenous knowledge and traditional knowledge systems a very big, focal point in terms of a topic that we could really go into a little bit more deeper, because in as much as we want to understand systems, we have a great opportunity being African to really explore indigenous knowledge and knowledge systems. So if anybody would like to maybe just add in terms of what other sort of more specific concepts, topics, or ideas we could look at that would really make the hub a little bit more lively. Anyone?
I think Abdul wants to speak. I'm joking.
Anyone at all?
I think what Mark said, I think I'd be very much interested in, if I'd be honest, is those applying or trying to apply those methodologies and use some of the systems tools with you guys as our community and solve some problems, or just pick up on anything like that. I think I'd be more interested in this. Yeah. Not for sure what you guys think.
Yeah, okay, so Hermanus in the chat says, I support the indigenous knowledge idea. And I would also like to run with him and say, Hermanus, like I mentioned earlier on, our context as Africa is one of the things that we put at the center as we were starting the hub and trying to build the community. And one of the things that we also mentioned even in our charter is the aspect of including our indigenous knowledge as Africa. So there's a lot of research that has been done everywhere about everything. It's all coming from the West. We're all depending on data that is coming from the West, and would really like to change that. So, and also give the respect to our own knowledge, because it's critical for us. It works for us because it's for us. So yeah, I would really like to maybe start thinking more about how we can start now to incorporate indigenous knowledge systems into our work. And yeah, I'm sure we can have another chat about this and try to find our way on how we can achieve that.
Just thinking about it, I think that's actually critical as a building block, because you want to change things in Africa. We need to understand, maybe we as a group maybe better what we're dealing with and have a deeper understanding before we can even go try and change things. So that may be a good place to start. Then on top of that, I would suggest that like you did the iceberg model, you unpack a system tool or methodology, and you learn that, and you learn one by one. Because in the end, they have different focuses. They're similar and they're different, and they've got different applications, but they're all important for your toolbox. So when you're faced with a situation, you have a toolbox full of tools that you can choose for the job. As a goal for learning, that could the indigenous knowledge first, and then the systems tools after that. I think that would be a good way to go.
Thank you so much, Mark. I definitely agree with you there. We have a few more minutes. I'm not too sure, Sheldon, if you want to just wrap up and ask them if they'd be interested in more of these, or to be interested in just like meeting up and having more of these meet and greets. And what time?
I think you are doing just fine doing that. So yeah, you can just wrap up for us, please.
Okay, perfect. So would you guys be interested in more of these events as well, just to like touch base with each other once in a while and see what we as a community, how we can move forward together as a Cape Town community? Would you guys be interested in these? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely,
Yes.
definitely. For me, this was quite exciting. And I think it also gives us that kind of personal connection of getting to know each other, the things that we value, and, how we can, work together as people. I think that that's one of the things that has also been missing in most of the work that we do. People are really not connected as people, but still trying to achieve one thing. I think that connection is very important when people want to come together to co-create and do something different. So that connection is really nice, and I enjoyed this. I think we should have more of them.
I think we do at R&B, and they usually called catch-up sessions to just catch up with one another, get it in touch. Yeah, and I think this is a good way to keep the team going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I quickly say before you guys wrap it that being part of this SI community, Cape Town, since day one, I have to confess that today was a different event for me, because what we've been doing, it's been like mostly one way, if I can put it like that, because they are online. You try and squeeze everything in short period of time. You've got speakers, you've got content to share, and you don't really allow people to come and talk. And we always, when we design event, we always have this outcome that we want to do gender-based violence, and this is what we're trying to achieve. But as a Cape Town community hub, this was the very first time for us to really come freely and open and share. And to me, what I learned is that if we really want to build this community, this is what we should be doing more. And, like, instead of just coming once in a while, post an article or a book or post a recording of an event. But if we get to come together, like start at least offline as a community, and then until we get to doing things online, until we get to doing things offline, that will be very, very helpful. So I will encourage everybody that attended today, if we get to do something like this in future, to invite someone that who might just come and join and talk. That will be nice. Yeah, that's
okay.
Today I had
Thank you very much, Asen.
Wait, one more thing.
Okay, Linda, quickly go.
Oh yeah, okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Linda.
Okay, so no, I just wanted to say that today I heard that the physical events are now called on-land events. I think for connecting to the nature.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Leah, you had something that you wanted to say?
Oh yeah, sorry. I just wanted to ask one more just before we go, because I know we're out of time. I just wanted to know, what time would you guys like best to do these events? Is this time fine, around 5 o'clock to 6? Is this time fine, or would you like to do it at another time, propose another time?
I presume you're all in South Africa, but this is a little bit early for me, and our clocks go 1 hour earlier at the end of the month. So, okay. But I'll fit in with the majority. So.
Okay, so where are you situated again?
I'm in the UK.
Okay, perfect. We'll try to work around that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys very much for attending. We really have
comment,
to.
Sheldon. Sorry.
Yes,
I think we can spare a minute to speak about this.
Yes, please.
Oh,
okay.
I can see Caroline and Mark have had Hermanus. They have comments in the comment section if you want to pick it up, please.
Yeah.
Okay. I had the opportunity to hear some beautiful experiences of private institutions working together with activists to create sustainable solutions, focus on African values and how to protect environments. And that's something I would like to learn. So once again, really, talking about that indigenous knowledge and, making use of the environment in a more equitable manner. All right. Okay, guys, we really need to end it now. There is another group waiting to use the room. So it was really an exciting session and very fun. Thank you very much for everybody who did join. And we really hope to see you, join our sessions more and more. And we will definitely personally sort of make contact if you do miss a few. All right, thank you very much. And this is us signing out.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Nice meeting everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.